You have reached Wrestling's on Toy Collector Review. I'm your man, Steele, and today I'll be reviewing from G.I. Joe Classified Series, Tele-Viper. G.I. Joe Classified Series Retro Cardback Tele-Viper. But before I get into the actual review, I want to go over some of the old school details on this packaging. Up front here, the table will show you what the figure and all its accessories inside. In the top corner, you have a warning label that says choking hazard, small parts, not for children under 3. In the other corner here, you have a 4+, which is age requirement for this figure, and below that it says Cobra Enemy. Across the top here, you have G.I. Joe Tele-Viper. Below that, you have an old school illustration of the Tele-Viper. In the corner, you have the Hasbro emblem. Then the back of the packaging here, on the very top again, it says G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle. Middle, you have a file card over here it says Tele-Viper Classified. Below that, you have his profile picture. Down here, you have Cobra. And over here it says Roll Cobra Communication. Primary specialty, communications. Secondary specialty, electronics. Birthplace, various countries. Then over here it says these are the RTOs, Radio Telecommunications Operators of the Cobra Ground Forces. Their modular radio pack allows for frequency hopping, encryption, and passive jamming and anti-jamming. Below that, you have a cross of all the other available figures. G.I. Joe Classified Series Retro Cardback Tele-Viper. Tele-Viper was released September 29th, 2025 with the suggested retail price of $24.99, and he's available at all major retailers. Tele-Viper was released along with the other G.I. Joe Classified Series Retro Cardback Wave 5 figures, Flint, and CoverGirl. Tele-Viper has multiple points of articulation for dynamic posability. His accessories include 2 alternate heads, VS11 scanner, Pack, cable, and figure stand. Tele-Viper stands 6 inches tall, and he is meant for fans ages 4 and up. At Tele-Viper, on my display table, let's go over some of his plate features and accessories. First by talking about his figure stand. And these figure stands are nice little bonuses that are included with the G.I. Joe Classified Series Retro Cardback figures. And there's some nice detail too. In front of the stand right here, you have some molded detail with the Cobra insignia. In front you have this little groove, I'm sure it's meant for a nameplate. Or to put Tele-Viper on this figure stand, on each side of the insignia, you have a little peg right there and right there. On the bottom of his feet, you got a porthole right there and right there. I'm going to take that stand and plug it right into his feet, just like that, and now you have Tele-Viper on his figure stand. And these are welcome additions only because a lot of these figures, when they're fully accessorized, they do become off balance and do fall over your display stand. And I have a lot of mainline figures that could benefit from having stands. And also, I can rotate this figure around so you can see what it looks like from all angles without fear of him falling over. Very, very nicely done. So the next accessory I want to bring in are his additional heads. And these additional heads all have different facial expressions, but also the unique gimmick with Tele-Viper is his thoughts get kind of projected on his visor right there. So right here, you have a facial expression, but on his visor it says, what the? And the other one it says, alert. Very, very cool. Or to swap out the head here, you want to take the default head, pull it from the neck. At the top of the neck here, you have a ball socket joint. Bottom of the head, you have a ball socket port. I'm going to go ahead and put the alert on, because like I said, it was a unique gimmick for Tele-Vipers where he had his thoughts projected on his visor, which is really, really cool. And there's a lot of great detail done on these head sculpts and throughout the figure too, because you got some paint detail where you get the flesh detail right there, you got the teeth, the lips, the black detail right here, and the visor is painted out of metallic silver paint where you shot just certain angles of light. You get that metallic luster, very, very nicely done. I'm going to go ahead and put these 2 head sculpts out to the side. So the next accessory I want to bring in is his VS11 scanner. And this scanner has some great detail, a lot of great mold detail here. You got handle detail, you got some stock detail, you got some barrel detail. Even inside the barrel, you have some nice detail right there. And it looks like there's a little porthole in here for like a blast effect of some sort. And the nice thing about G.I. Joe Classified Series figures is there's such detail put into these figures. Even with the hand sculpt right here, you got that vein detail, knuckle detail, and you have a trigger finger detail, which is really nicely done because the trigger figure actually fits in the little slot where the trigger should be. Very, very cool. And you take that handle now, and you slide it right down his hand, and you take the trigger finger and just put it right into that porthole just like that, and now you have Tele-Viper armed with this VS11 scanner. Very, very, very cool. So the next accessory I want to bring in is his Communipack. The Communipack is nicely done too. I mean, these G.I. Joe Classified Series figures blow me away because they really put a lot of love and care and detail into these figures. You got a lot of great mold detail here. You got like antenna detail, you got some button detail, and the nice thing about the buttons too, those buttons are painted out of like that metallic silver paint also. So you get that nice little deco detail, and it really pops with the black. Very, very nicely done. In order to arm the Tele-Viper with his Communipack, you turn the Communipack all the way around. You get that peg right there. On Tele-Viper's back, you have a porthole, and it's very important that you line up the vest with that porthole on his back because the vest is molded out of a separate plastic, so it's a separate piece. Not sure if it would come off or not. I'm sure there's a way to do that, but you just take that backpack and you plug it right into the center of his back just like that. And now you have the Tele-Viper armed with his Communipack. But his accessories aren't fully armed yet because there's one more accessory you want to bring in, and that's the cable. And the cable is very unique because it's molded out of like that flexible plastic. And at the end here you have two little hose attachments right there and right there, which is also molded out of a separate plastic. And they have portholes at the very end. At the bottom of the VS11 scanner you have a peg. So we're going to take that and plug that right in like that. But on the backpack you have another peg and porthole. You want to go and plug those together just like that. And now you have your Tele-Viper fully armed with all of his accessories. Very, very, very menacing. And there's also a way to store his accessory, which I'll show you how to do in a second. Go and take the accessory here. You take the VS11 scanner and plug it back into the hose just like that. And I don't think I had it in all the way because I just heard a little pop. But you take that VS11 scanner and you just peg it right into the stock just like that. And now you have his VS11 scanner stored while he's standing on his display stand. Very, very cool. But I'm not a big fan of storing my weapons on my figures while they're displayed because why store them when you can arm them and make them look much, much more menacing. So I'm going to go ahead and take this scanner right here, put it right back into his hand. And these figures sometimes take a little bit of care and finesse when you arm them and put them together and assemble them. And you got to make sure like that peg goes right into place just like that. Because this figure is fantastic. Lots of points of articulation. I mean, you have ankle articulation, you have knee articulation, you have thigh swivel, you have hip articulation, waist articulation, you have torso articulation, you have wrist, elbow, shoulder, where it's on a ball socket joint and hinged, you got a neck, and you have head articulation, where you have two different points of articulation right there. Very, very nicely done. I think these figures are very cool, and there's a lot of opportunity for army building. You can buy multiple of these figures because with the assortment, I believe that you get a couple of these figures in each assortment. You get like, I think one CoverGirl and one Flint, and I believe two Tele-Vipers if I'm not mistaken. 2 or 4, I forgot what the number was exactly. But this figure is a fantastic addition to your collection. I really do love these retro Cardback figures. I'm kind of swaying away a little bit from the mainline figures because, I mean, I connect more with the retro figures only because that's the G.I. Joe I grew up with. So seeing these figures all come out in these different assortments is very exciting for me. But if you found any of the information in this video valuable, please like and share this video. Also, really enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel. And while you're there, click the bell to be notified of any future videos. I want to thank you guys for watching Red Steele's Toy Collector Review. I'll check you guys out next time.